Morning, everyone. Welcome to Cosmic Compass. I'm really happy to see all of you and really excited to introduce you to our guest in a few moments. But first, I thought I would start with the breathing. By now, you're used to that. We're going to start with breathing and really coming into the space, and then we'll do some cards and we'll do just a tiny bit of astrology, and then we'll bring in our guest. Okay. So for the breathing, if you can close your eyes, great. If you can't, not a problem. Just bringing your awareness inward and just dropping into your body. Where are you? Feel your sit bones, or if you're standing, where are you? How do you feel yourself in the space? Feeling the earth beneath your feet, feeling this beautiful earth and honoring all those who have come before. We're going to breathe in and we're going to expand the belly as we breathe. And then exhale. And then we're going to breathe in. And exhale. And as you exhale, just finding a way to feel a little bit more relaxation in your jaw and your shoulders. As you breathe in, feeling the earth beneath you, feeling that groundedness, breathing in, expanding your belly, and exhaling, letting go of anything that isn't yours to carry. And breathing in, expanding the belly, and exhaling when you're ready. Really coming into this space, and I could stay here for a long time. It always feels so good. But as we come back, I'm going to ask for our tarot guidance today, and I'm very happy to see people today, this morning or evening for some of you. Thank you for so much for joining. So exciting. I love it. I have people from all over. Very happy. And we're going to pull some cards for the week. So the first card revealed is we got this one. I don't know if we got this last week, I think the week before. Can't remember now. Or maybe it was another call, but this card is making its appearance. Six of Wands. And again, for today's Cosmic Compass, I'm not going to actually go into a lot of detail. Just let you really interpret this for yourself. What does this feel like in your body? If you're the person in the card, what are you feeling like? If you know the tarot, you can expand, and expound on what you know, and just take in the energy of the Six of Wands for right now. It's a lovely card. I think, that's a thing. I use these cards for a reason because the art's pretty good. All right. Pretty straightforward, and it gives us information. Ooh, our next card. There's a lot of talk about stars and comets and some unidentified flying objects as well, apparently. So here we have the star. And again, really looking at this from an interpretation of what is this for you? The guidance is coming in for all of us, but it is an individual interpretation as well. Okay. And then our last card. I think we got this one recently too. Maybe. Five of Cups. And consider, especially if you have some background and know a little bit about the tarot card, what is the story here? And then what is the other story? Because there's always more than one story. And how is this story being written for you right now? every time I see these cards, and partly because I'm showing them on the computer screen, so they're magnified for me. Um, I see something different. I see a new detail. I was noticing her face today when I put it first on the screen. All right, so the cards always tell a story. And this story looks like a very interesting story. And we are looking at a lot of energy and even more energy and energy in a different way. So, looking at how you want to work with your energy this week, how you want to move with your energy this week. Um, Mercury retrograde. So, we're all here, so well done. I say so far, it's a good day. Mercury retrograde did some weird things yesterday, but it's all good right now. Um, why is Mercury retrograde a thing? I used to poo-poo it like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Why would it matter? Well, it's interesting. This card kind of reminds me, we are all stardust. We are all part stardust. We are here as a much bigger picture. The planets, the weather affects us. Why wouldn't the planets affect us? It's like there is some science behind it. I don't know how to bring it in here today, but what I do know is that the opportunity during Mercury retrograde is to review, reflect, reconnect, go slower. And what we want is to not have to be reminded of that. Okay. So what we want is to be proactive. And for those of you that, this can be a really busy time of year, especially for people who have any sort of retail business or a holiday-based business or just any business. This time of year doesn't necessarily slow down. Um, and so, how can we drop in and move a little slower on the inside? How can we spend a little bit more time reflecting internally? And I will say that the energy with Jupiter slowing down, if it will actually help, I think, because Jupiter is such a big energy as it begins to slow down coming into it's going to be, and remember the planets don't actually move backwards. You all know that. But in astrologically speaking, as it slows down and as it starts to retrograde eventually, part of what we're being asked to do is to slow down ourselves. And what does that look like? Again, you know, there's a lot for me to do this time of year. So how do I slow down and get everything done? That's how do I get it all done? Well, there's a lot of there's a lot of good advice out there. There's a lot of good people out there helping us figure that out. And one of the things that helps me is to wake up and not rush out of bed right away. So start the day a little differently, right? Breathe, stretch maybe a little bit before I even get up, if it's possible. And then take in the day, the colors. And again, the weather is so important for all of us, right? So is it sunny today? Is it cloudy today? Is it foggy today? Take a look at the detail. I think it's the detail that really makes a difference. And it's a way of slowing down. It's a way of slowing down. Okay. So speaking of amazing detail, we are going to transition now and we're going to talk to one of my favorite people and who happens to also be an author, in addition to being a wonderful human. I'm going to add her to our spotlight now and introduce you to Sarah Barnes, who has been with us before. This is not her first Cosmic Compass. It will not be her last. Sarah, I'm so glad you're here. And as someone who pays attention to detail. Thank you for being here with us. There's so much I want to say about Sarah. What I do want to do right up front, and just right up front, Sarah and I are going to be having a book group to discuss her first book, and then we'll have another one to discuss the second book on Sunday, December 7th at 11 a.m. Pacific. Now, for some of you, that's late in the, well, it's like 7 o'clock at night. For some of you, it's early the next day. So, I know it's an interesting time, but we're trying to gather as many as we can from around the world because Sarah's books are traveling around the world right now. And Sarah, why don't we just start first with why don't we tell people which book is the first book? They'll start there.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, the reason there's more than one is that it's a planned trilogy. So the first book is She Who Rides Horses. The full title is She Who Rides Horses, A Saga of the Ancient Steppe, Book One. The second book is A Clan Chief's Daughter, She Who Rides Horses, Book Two. And the third book, I am not revealing the name yet. I have an idea. Just as I have a pretty good idea of the plot and details of the book itself, but it's still taking shape.
It's so exciting. Okay, so Sarah, for those who haven't met you yet, how does a history professor become a writer of books about horses? Or how did Sarah Barnes make a transition from one to another?
Well, I can go back to the very beginning. Like a lot of horsewomen, I have been crazy about horses since I was a little girl. But they did not play a huge part in my life until I moved to Colorado, where I now live, with my family in 1999. So I had horses in my life off and on, but more off than on, shall we say. Um, and my other early passion was for stories, and particularly stories that happened long ago and far away. And that led me to being a history major in college, and then went on to graduate school, got a PhD. My family, my husband and my girls and I did move around a lot, so I taught in a number of different places. And when we did finally move to Colorado, um, that's when horses re-entered my life. My girls were old enough to start to ride as well, and lo and behold, they had the same passion that I did. My husband's violently allergic to horses, but was very supportive. And so horses became a larger and larger part of my life. And at one point, I was working not only as an academic, teaching and researching and writing things that no one reads.
Well, some people do, but yes, we
Um,
we hear you.
but I had also become a writing instructor.
Mhm.
And there came a day when I was looking out the window of my office and thinking about submitting yet another research grant and and grading undergraduate essays. And I thought, how is this making the world a better place? And it was easy for me to see how I was making a contribution to the world being a better place when I was at the barn, because there was that smile on the little girl's face when she learned to post the trot, or the woman like me who was coming back to the barn after being away for a long time, but rekindling a childhood passion. So I was really feeling like my path was was with the horses. And so I took a big step back from academia and just pursued my life with horses. And it has been a bumpy path, as
Yeah.
most paths are. And I had one horse in particular who I developed a very deep bond with, but she ended up not being able to help me pursue what I thought were my goals. And I had a driveway moment that was actually quite emotionally charged, shall we say, in which I made a decision to surrender to what the universe trying seemed to be
Mhm.
pulling me toward,
Yes.
and follow the path that this particular horse was leading me on, which was away from a more traditional way of being with horses. And that led me to the work of Linda Conniff,
Mhm.
who wrote The Tao of Equus and is a great friend and mentor. And I attended several of her workshops,
Mhm.
and one in particular was involved being with the horses and the horses being our primary teachers, but it was on writing, not
Yes.
riding.
Writing. Yes.
And in the course of that workshop,
Mhm.
this story that I'm telling was kind of delivered to me. So it's not my story. It came from out there in the ether, as ideas do. And I think because I am kind of uniquely positioned with
Mhm.
this background in history and this passion and love for horses,
Yes.
um, I was a fortuitous place for that idea to land.
I
And
love
so
that. Yes.
so the books are very much inspired from the more than human world.
Yes.
But because I do have, I'm a Capricorn, and I do have this attention to detail.
Yes.
And so I've also endeavored to make the
Mhm.
stories as historically accurate as possible.
Which I really appreciate. And, as someone who, I mean, and many of us here, we have a love for animals. Many people here have a love for horses in particular. Um, and knowing the history is being researched, and that's something we will talk about a little bit more in the book groups because we don't want to talk about all of that today. There's some exciting ways in which Sarah works that I think will be really fun to explore when we actually get to the book groups, and there'll be more than one because there's obviously more than one book. So um, I envision, so cutting Sarah off at this moment because I don't want her to reveal too much more. I envision that we will read the book, and then on that Sunday, December 7th, we will meet, and then we can ask you all these questions about the process and about where these characters come from. And to be fair, it's the book group is Sunday, December 7th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And if you want to sign up, there'll be a sign up list in the follow up email, and I'll put one in the links in the YouTube as well. So Sarah, one thing I'm thinking would be fun to do is just to say a little bit about the main character in book one. We don't want to reveal too much, but she's pretty awesome. So what could you say that won't reveal too much, but give us a little more information?
Okay, so she she was the first character, not surprisingly, to show up when this idea was downloaded, and I didn't know who she was. And for a long time, she was just the girl.
The girl, oh, okay,
So,
that's good to know. See, oh,
so
just a
she,
little
but
reveal
I
about
won't
how
get too
that
much into the
works.
process.
Yeah, yeah, don't say too much.
Yeah. So her name was eventually revealed to me as Naya.
Mhm.
And she is when the story starts, she is 14,
Mhm.
She has flaming red hair
Mhm.
and blue eyes, which is historically accurate,
Just
surprisingly.
in case everyone's wondering. That's
Just in
it.
case
That's all
everyone's
she's going to say.
wondering.
I'm not going to let her talk
Um,
too much about all this yet.
and she's a bit of a loner.
Mhm.
Um, she has a tremendous love for animals,
Mhm.
and she is fascinated by wild horses.
That's good. Okay, I'm stopping you right there. I
Okay.
just want to go back to, we just had someone join the call, so I just want to go back just like one or two sentences and say that she has flaming red hair because that is important to the last person who joined this call. Um, so she loves horses. And why don't we do say a little bit about the time period when this is set? Because that is actually very intriguing. Not to say too much more about the process itself or too much more about the plot, because I really do want everyone who wants to read the book and join us. But tell us a little bit about the setting.
Yeah, so again, the the setting that when the idea came to me, it was like watching a movie.
Hmm.
And so at first I didn't know exactly where the setting was, but it was
Hmm.
open grassland, the
Okay.
steppe,
Okay.
open grasslands,
Okay.
um, vistas as far as you can see, but also rivers,
Hmm.
river valleys, ravines.
Hmm.
So I was like, this doesn't seem like the pictures I've seen of Mongolia.
Uh-huh.
And so I was describing the setting before I really knew
Hmm.
what it was.
Hmm.
But it turns out it's the Pontic-Caspian steppe, which is the area north of the Black Sea,
Hmm.
in the region of the Volga
Hmm.
River and the Don, which are two rivers that are in what are now southern Russia and Ukraine. And lo and behold, as it turns out, that's the DNA evidence that was uncovered years, literally after I started writing the book, confirmed that that is indeed where the horses that turned out to be the ancestors of all domestic horses were tamed and domesticated. So
Yes.
and
Yeah.
time-wise, the story is set 4,000 BC, so 6,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So I describe it kind of as Clan of the Cave Bear meets My Friend Flicka.
I love that's great. Two important books for many of us here on the call right now. That's perfect. It is so perfect. I love it. Okay, we did have a question about how long we're going to meet on that Sunday. And I'm envisioning 90 minutes for for our first group. And there'll be more. This is just the first one. And I'd like us to show up having read the first book. Now, not everybody may have time in the next month to read the book fully, but please, if you want to join us, yeah, we'd love that. So, this means getting a book. Now, I have a couple of thoughts on this. This is coming from me because I want to make sure that there's plenty of these books out there in the world. Um, if you're in the United States, you can order from bookshop.org.
Yeah.
Sarah, where can people order if they're in the UK or somewhere else, Australia, New Zealand?
It, I think it's possible to also acquire the book from an independent bookstore if that's your choice.
Mhm.
In there's pretty much worldwide distribution. It
Okay.
may take a while because those shops don't
Hmm.
necessarily stock the book,
Hmm.
but they can order it.
Okay.
If you and bookshop.org, I'm pretty sure is just the US,
I think
but
so. Yeah.
um, that said, it is available on Amazon.
Yes, but notice we.
So that of course is probably the easiest and most direct way to access it, but it should also be because I do have another distributor
Mhm.
that is not Amazon that distributes
Mhm.
worldwide. So
Yeah, and I think that's important to know. It's with all the different things going on right now. Yeah, if you're in Canada or somewhere else, if you're
yeah,
overseas,
and it's available on Amazon Canada and
yeah,
Amazon UK and Amazon
yeah,
France and
yeah.
Amazon
So
Germany
it is
and Amazon
available.
Australia. Yeah.
Yeah. But if like here, we like to try to support our either our local bookstore or bookshop.org because it does support local bookstores.
Mhm.
So again, wanting to kind of make a difference in all the other ways that we possibly can. And I had a thought for everyone. And again, this is just an idea, but if you want a signed copy from Sarah, here's how I would like, this is just it's an opportunity. Um, Sarah is not available for the next month or so. She won't be available till the book group for this. But let's say you want to read the book, so you order it, right? You read the book, but then you want a signed copy. You can order another book from Sarah directly from our when we meet for our book group, and then you could donate your first book to the library or to a school. This is my plan to get the book out there in the world. You know, Sarah, I have this very distinct memory of being in I must have been in elementary school. I mean, I'm thinking I can feel myself sitting on the floor in the library in the stacks during lunch reading. And wait for it, people. This is going to just blow your minds because you're going to be like, are you kidding me? We have never heard this side of you. Zane Grey novels. Right? You're all freaking out now. Like, what? Are you kidding? No, seriously, that was what was available in that particular section. And I would just sit there and read. And for those of you who know my story, I didn't learn to read until I was much older because I had some neurodivergent situations, which actually helped me with the astrology, side note. But once I did learn how to read, it was like, oh my God, look at this. There's so much we can do here. So I was voracious. But yeah, the Zane Grey. And then I went into some Aztec novels and, I just worked my way around. Little House on the Prairie was they're all there. Very definitely. Clan of the Cave Bear was a little later though, because you remember that was a tad racy at the time, right? Do you remember? Okay, that was like a big deal. If you had read Clan of the Cave Bear by the time you were in high school, ooh, that was like something. So anyway, just not giving away too much about your book. But anyway, my point is libraries and schools and places where budgets may not always reach out to independent writers, sellers, et cetera, et cetera. So how can we help bring more books to people? So this is just my thought. So if we have extra books, we share them. So the other thing I was thinking too, as a side note that Sarah doesn't know about because I just came up with it today. So now I'm going to surprise her. Um, she's like, oh God. So we have in our town, we have I think probably a lot of towns have this bag of food. There's a name for it, Ashland Food Project, I think, where you fill a bag of food and you leave it on your doorstep and they come by and pick it up once a month. And then they bring it for you to the food bank. Like you can, you know, take
What a
it.
great idea.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, but I was thinking we could put a book in every bag. So if you donate food during the holiday season or you donate to something else, what if we all had extra books? Sarah's books, we could start there and you could pick other books too. But what if we donate them? I mean, why not? Right? People need books and food. Would you agree, Sarah?
I would absolutely agree. And hopefully this these books are food for the soul.
Yeah.
And part of why I appreciate so much Denise's support for this project is not because it's my book. In fact, it's not my story. I have this, but I do feel this responsibility for the story that's been given to me. And there is a reason that it's coming through in this time and place.
Mhm.
And it is a story above all, but there are layers to it, and there's a message there about that's relevant for our present and our future as a species,
Oh, yeah.
in terms of our relationships
Mhm.
with the more than human world. And so just to put Denise's support in context, there's a reason we're trying to get the
Yes.
story out
Yes.
there.
Yes. And I will add to that too. Um, for those of you who know me pretty well, you know that, looking at the path of women and the role of women and the journey of women and all of that, looking back in our history and what has not been shared as much with all of us. So, um, which is to say, this is an opportunity to share with more people how women, girls, women, all people really. I mean, the books they encompass obviously whole families and groups, clans, obviously. There's a lot that has not been shared with us in our own history books and our own history classes. So this is an opportunity, I think, to deepen an awareness of the connection. And yes, of course, between horses, all animals, the land, and people, humans. But I love that it is, of course, women who take the lead roles.
Well, and I shared the books with a, an archaeologist who is an expert in this area. Her name is Catherine Kane, and she's currently one of the foremost scholars in um, researching and writing about the origins of domestication. And she, from an academic slash scientific standpoint, is trying to bring not just the women, but the horses back
Mhm.
into the story, seeing the horses as actually having agency in this process. Um, but yeah, that was her comment to me when she's like, thank goodness somebody has put a woman or a girl, young girl into this story.
Yeah, yeah. Because
So,
I mean, well, yeah, it's long overdue, I think, in a lot of ways. And then the other thing, and I know a lot of you know this already, but again, to underscore this, there is a strong understanding that I've carried for a long time around horses and whales, by the way, but horses is what we're talking about today. Maybe you could do whales another time, but horses being the keepers of wisdom and being able to uh, be with us on this journey. I mean, we're talking 6,000 years of human growth and evolution in its forms, and these horses staying with us on the journey. That to me is profound, that connection.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And what Naya's story does is to ask the question, what was the original agreement
Okay,
that we
everybody who's joining the book club, that is our first journal question that we're going to start with. Oh, a little homework already. I'm so excited. Okay. So yeah, I mean, this is something that is a very, and I think one of the ways in which we all can be a part of shifting the energy of this time is by learning more. And this is a fiction book, but this is historically accurate. And so we are learning more about the history And we are part of that. Our cells, our DNA, we're all part of this. So we are here to shift, I think. I think we've probably figured that out by now that each of us here we're making a difference in some form. So, Sarah, anything else that you want to say that doesn't reveal too much?
I'm working hard on the audiobook.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes.
It's a learning curve. So I was hoping that it might be available before, if it as an option before the book group, but it's not going to be.
That's okay.
Um,
Mercury's retrograde now. It's okay. Yeah.
I, tell me about it. But that, but yeah, that is coming down
That's
as well.
interesting. So, there are a lot of people here who are either writers or aspiring writers. Let's talk a little bit about the audiobook journey just for fun. Um, how is it doing your own audiobook at this point?
Well, my arduous, I would say, but also fun.
Okay.
My intent originally was not to do the audiobook myself because as a someone who listens to a lot of audiobooks, I know what a difference it makes to have a good narrator,
Yeah.
and that is not my wheelhouse.
Well, so you
And
thought.
or so I thought. And so I did go through the process of auditioning someone and having them actually produce more or less the final copy. And I listened to it, and it wasn't it wasn't the story, and it wasn't the voice
Mhm.
or the voices.
Mhm.
And so I have a contact here locally who had approached me several years ago actually and said, I produce audiobooks if you ever, and I'd sort of filed his
Mhm.
information away, and so then I called in some friends and had them listen to what had been produced, and they agreed with me that it was not wasn't in service to the
Mhm. Mhm.
story.
Mhm.
And with some encouragement from them and from the producer, they're like, "Yeah, you can do this." And the 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 final sort of endorsement came from my oldest daughter, who is a she has a has background as an actor and theater, and more to the point, she listened to me read chapter books to her for years.
Good
And
point.
she's like, "Of course you can do this, Mom."
Yes, good point.
And so since the beginning of October, I've been recording this audiobook. And it's definitely been a learning curve. But and my attention to detail is on full display. And I'm doing my best.
Your Capricorn self.
My Capricorn self is
Yes.
raging. Um, so
Well, we'll be sending you a lot of really good energy for that. And I think, it is a process, and it is something that, again, the learning curve, because it's your first time doing this, is tremendous. But I do think I love what you said about this is a way for the audiobook to actually be a true reflection of the book itself.
yeah, I've been hearing these voices. I've been hearing the words of the story in my head literally for years.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yes. And
it's coming out in my own voice.
yes, there are probably a lot of writers here with us and probably watching later. Many people don't know that I do have a novel that's written. It hasn't gone anywhere in a long, long, long time. But I can really relate to what you say. When I was really in the throes of writing it, getting it down. Those characters, they show up, they hang out with you, they eat dinner with you, they show up in your bedroom, waking you up in the middle of the night. Hello, you didn't finish that. You need to finish it. So it's real. They're there. They're totally there. They don't let you stop. So for those of you that are aspiring writers or already writers, or people who are interested in learning more even about that, join the book group because there will be talk about the process of writing. That is something that we are going to talk about during the book group, which segue to the question in the chat. How much does it cost? Well, it is free. It is free. It is free. It is free. So it will be, we'll just start with the first one. And then we'll probably have two because there's two books. We may have more than that because we may have to have more discussion to support the third book coming out. And maybe we'll even get little snippets, who knows? But so I see this as an opportunity for us to gather together to bring this message. And it's more than one message, but to bring the energy, I think is a better way to say it. Bring the energy into the world right now. So, Sarah, do you have anything else you want to say about this?
Um, just how grateful I am to you for championing this story, and I so appreciate in you and your team. So I'm
No,
really looking forward to getting a chance to talk some more about it, and like you say about the process, and
yeah, the
yeah.
process is fascinating, and also the characters and the character development, and all the things that when we're reading a book, we go into well, I should speak for myself. I go into my own experience of that character or my own experience of that um, place. And I think it'll be really fun to share what that is for each of us. And then as you for the author to share what it was for you. And I'm sure everybody's figured this out by now. Obviously, I used to teach literature. So this is one of my passions, and this is allowing me to bring everything together here for a few moments and just really dive in. Sarah, there was this comment here in the chat. Um, just really affirming you for reading it
uh,
yourself.
yeah, I'm looking at the chat now.
Okay, good. So yeah, thank you for that because I do think being a writer, sharing your heart, sharing your visions, sharing this message that comes through, there is a vulnerability to this, but then you add your own voice in, there's a whole other layer of vulnerability. And yet, to your eldest daughter's point, you've been doing this for years, Mom. Just keep doing it, right? Like I can just see it. It's great. So anyway, this is our pleasure to be able to share this with you. It is sort of I'm going to call it our little Christmas, our little pre-holiday offering to just spend time together with this amazing story with an amazing being, Sarah, who is bringing this to us. And also, I think to support each and every one of us in our own story. And that's something that we'll probably talk about in the book groups up, maybe in a later iteration of the book groups is, we each have something that we do want to share. And it's important for each of us to find our medium, what is going to be the right place to share this. But I'm very excited. So thank you. This is very fun. I feel compelled. Oh, wait. And by the way, for those of you watching on YouTube, there's a whole other experience going on in the chat that you are not privy to. But I am appreciating here David putting in
I know.
the
I'm like I have to read
right.
David's
There's a whole bunch of
comments
history
and
here. So
absorb them.
he's thanking you for sharing something that's been needing to be shared, about that place. I feel compelled to pull another card. I'm not sure why, but I'm going to pull another card. Oh, wow. And there's birds staring right at me through the window.
What kind of bird?
It's a Jay, but I mean, it was like right there looking right at me, like, hello, who are you? Okay. So this, I think you'll appreciate, Sarah. This is the Eight of Wands. It's all about creativity. It's all about sharing our creativity together. And there's more to it, obviously, but it is what I love about this. And I will read you. I'm going to read you a little story. I'll read you what Chris Ann says about this, because I love this card. Um, she says, it's go time. It's go time. So she says, and I think some of you are going to really appreciate this, consistent movement that feels right in your heart is the best place to start. Consistent movement that feels right in your heart is the best place to start. And I think for you as a writer, for you as someone who's doing the audiobook, consistent movement is the right place when it comes from your heart, right? So the affirmation that goes with this card is it's go time. I fall into the flow of this quickening energy and I swiftly face my desires head on. So Sarah, you will finish. You will finish this audiobook. It will be beautiful. You will write the third book. And you'll do 2 more audiobooks too. And so for those of you who can join us, I really hope to see you there. And Sarah, thank you so much. I am already excited. I wish that book group was next weekend, but it's not. We still need time to read the book, so it's all perfect. All right.
Hey, I'm going to go back to work.
Yeah, she needs to go record. So thank you so much for being here. Mwah. All right, everyone.